This is a football talk podcast. Today we're just going to focus on European football. Now, we've seen Tranmere get promoted from the National League. We've got the other playoff finals to come. And what I have noticed and what I've seen people talk about is there's been crowd disturbances at each playoff round. There's been some sort of crowd disorder. Missiles being thrown, arrests being made, bad behaviour. And this is a worry considering the World Cup is around the corner. Back to the Tranmere Rovers. Tranmere Rovers' playoff success is one of the most popular footballing videos I've ever had on the channel. Very well watched, really great responses, a couple of idiot trolls who had to be dealt with, but for the most part, people seem to enjoy my view on Tranmere going back up to the Football League, and I hope that they can go back up the Football League ladder and possibly get the Championship, maybe even the Premier League in years to come, because they're the other team from Merseyside. They're the team from the Wirral that everyone forgets about when you've got Liverpool and Everton dominating the Merseyside area, that part of the northwest. You have Birkenhead across the River Mersey, and you have Tranmere Rovers and Birkenhead in the Wirral, and I think they are a well-supported club, as proven by the amount of people who viewed that video. In considering for the channel size, that is a lot of people, and hopefully it can hit 1,000 views. And I'll be quite happy with that because I've never had a football video hit 1,000 views. Simple. But it's playoff season. We've also got to remember Champions League finals next weekend, and we've got the FA Cup final this weekend, both here in England. We've got the English FA Cup final, and we've got the Scottish FA Cup final between Motherwell and Celtic. I'll only do a video on that if Motherwell actually win. If Celtic win, I'm not interested because I like an underdog story, and Scottish football needs to become more competitive. You just got to look at the history of it. It's not competitive enough for long enough, and it's boring me to death. The English FA Cup final, this could be the defining moment for some players and both managers. Conte, I still think, is on the way out because Chelsea have proven if you do win trophies, you can still get sacked. It doesn't matter how successful you are as a manager. A year to 2 years average is how long they last. Sometimes they do a manager every 6 months. They're very... Abramovich likes chopping off the heads of managers. Managers at Chelsea don't have longevity, and they don't get given the time to see through a 3, 4, 5 year program of improvement and development and get a philosophy and get the players in and build a culture. You don't get the time. Man United, on the other hand, players need to perform. Pogba and Sanchez being two examples, they really need to step up to that. Like they did in the semi-final, they need to do it again here in the final. It's a defining moment for both managers and both clubs. Man United are trying to go for an equaling record with, believe Arsenal, and Chelsea want to get their 7th title as well. They're both very successful in this competition. Chelsea have had a lot of success in recent years. I think the last 20 or 30 odd years they've had a lot of final appearances and won the trophy from the first time to, I think it was in 94, 95. 96 maybe, about that time, 97 was it? I can't remember. It was in the 90s that Chelsea won their first FA Cup. They've won 6 in that 20-year spell. They want to make it 7. Man United want to equal Arsenal's 13 title record for the FA Cup. This final could be one of two things: exceptionally entertaining end-to-end stuff where the players go solid, let's go hell for leather, or one of the most boring, overly tactical, antiseptic, dull watches. I would prefer the first one rather than the latter one, but I think the latter one's more likely. I think it's going to be a very dull affair. I really do. I don't think it's going to be a very expansive game, which is a shame because I like expansive end-to-end football, especially as a neutral. I like being a neutral watching sports when it is end-to-end and open. I like watching the Rugby Union World Cup and Rugby League World Cups when I'm a neutral, when there's no team that I'm favouring in that game. I like watching it to be expansive and fun and end-to-end and offload here, slip pass there, crazy move. I like watching that type of game. Same on football, the pass and move and the space and just the outlandish attempts at goal. It needs to be an exciting final. It's a dull final. That's not going to please the fans, football fans worldwide. They want to be entertained, not sent to sleep. Because when the royal weddings take place today, that's going to send a lot of people to sleep. I do think it will be a sellout, but ticket price has been questioned yet again. And we've covered that in many previous videos, so if you want to check them out, check out my live streams, check out my footballing playlists. There's also, check out my other podcasts. We do discuss it a lot. So if you're new to the channel and you want to hear about my views on football ticket prices and the amount of money that these clubs make from the TV deal that they still keep ripping us off, check out my live streams. Fans are getting slowly more and more vociferal in their views on paying for jerseys, merchandise going through the roof, and poor quality merchandise, their ticket price, the amount of corporate fans are starting to really dislike Sky BT. They really are. I was when I was watching the Europa League final on the YouTube with BT Sport. A lot of people said, "Can we have it free to air, please?" I saw a lot of comments going, "Oh, they show the Champions League final as well." People were getting a bit more annoyed by the paywall that's put up in front of them. They are. Covers loads of sports, not just football. I'm also intrigued by the amount of interest from across the Atlantic, especially Australia. They have the A League, but I have a lot of Australian subscribers, and they like all sport. Australia's a sportsman country. And they qualify for more World Cups than the US have. Just saying. But with the American national side missing out on this year's World Cup, I'm interested by the amount of viewership I'm getting for domestic British and European football. The Women's FA Cup final, loads of viewers from the US and around the world for that. Europa League, I've had a couple. Some of the other football stories, such as managers getting sacked, teams getting promoted, relegated, whatever it may be, qualifying for Europe, whatever video I've done, Americans are watching. And that's really, really interesting. I've got an itchy neck. But I'm wondering how many Americans will actually watch the World Cup this year, considering that their team is not in it. Now, they have a big interest in European football with all the TV rights that the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Liga, Serie A sell. And all the other European leagues as well. I think there's a highlights programme of European football that NBC does. They don't just cover the English Premier League, they cover, I think, almost every single European league you can think of. The US can pick it up on their ESPN, NBC, Comcast, Sportsnet, whatever it may be. In the US and Canada, they do have programming on streaming services on TV over there. So it is getting more and more popular. Now, obviously, European football, soccer, is an alien concept in the style that it's not a North American sport. But looking at the growth of the MLS and looking at grassroots football in the US, it is growing rapidly. So over here in Europe, a lot of people always discount the MLS, and a lot of Americans discount it, saying, "Oh, it won't ever be the same." But we are underestimating the growth of that league potential. The growth of that league has the potential that league has to grow and become bigger and better. The issues with US football lie with the governing body, the federation, and the youth system, and how they structure development of players. And the two minor leagues in the MLS, they're not the problem necessarily. It's managing to keep those young players involved in the game, export some of those good, talented young players over here to Europe. And this year, with the US not making it to the World Cup, that proves more difficult to showcase their skills, improve the scouting, improve the coaching, and maybe having a look at how many foreign players are playing in the MLS. Do we get more in there just to go, look, these are superstars, or do we have less? So with players like Wayne Rooney and Fernando Torres being linked to moves to the MLS, does that raise the profile of the game? Most likely, yes. They are multiple trophy winners. They are internationals. Torres has won the World Cup and the Euros. Rooney's record goal scorer for his country. Champions League titles, Europa League titles, and medals galore between the both of them. League titles, they have got silverware. These players have won at the highest level at the clubs they've played at. So, will they raise the profile of the game? Of course they will. Is that a good thing? Yes. Simple. It's like Wayne Gretzky moving from Edmonton to LA in 1988 in the trade, raised the profile of ice hockey, the NHL, in the US market. It helped grow the game south of the Canadian border. By having European style quality players, okay, yeah, they're past their best. They're not as good as they were 5-10 years ago. But having players of that quality go over to America, yes, that will put bums on seats for a couple more years. And it will grow the game and get more young kids wanting to play the game. Simple. Michel Platini coming out and saying that the World Cup in '98 was rigged in favour of a France-Brazil final is undermining the World Cup. That's another thing we need to talk about. I've done a video on that. It's unhelpful. It really is. He's been found to be corrupt, so therefore I take every word he says. He needs to just go away, really. For some reason, Blatter, Platini, they can't just piss off. These guys belong in prison because they committed corruption offences. If I did that, I'm in prison. If I took a bribery for a favourable contract and didn't declare earnings, yeah, Inland Revenue and Customs would take me to court. If I refuse to pay, I can go to prison for fraud. They've managed to avoid prison sentences somehow. For the amount of corruption they were involved in, it's a joke. Can they go away, please? They're undermining the game yet further. I think Platini, his comments, I've construed them maybe a bit differently. I've looked into them a bit deeper, and some people take my face value going, "Oh, just shut up." But he's basically suggesting that the other 30 nations involved were not playing as hard enough to allow that Brazil-France final for the TV rights. It's just madness. Brazil and France were the two best countries in the world at that point. The fact that in 1992 FIFA said to France, "You can have the World Cup." They put a lot of effort into planning it, and it united a French nation that had some social and ethnic divisions in it through the regions like Brittany, the Basque Country were getting a bit restless. There was ETA setting off car bombs in Spain and then murdering the French police officers. You had the Bretons in Brittany protesting a lot, wanting more autonomy and independence. There was ethnic divisions in cities. There were riots. There was corruption scandals. It unified the nation. Do not undermine what a good thing that World Cup was. That's what he basically is. He's undermining the last 20 years of football. He's basically saying that for the last 26 years, we've been fixing every World Cup. Well, yeah, there are some games that clearly have issues, but football fans' faith with the governing bodies is already at a low ebb. Do not lower it further. Football's having issues, and I've noticed this in European football. The English playoffs, the French playoffs, the league games in various leagues. There's a lot of crowd disturbances, and the World Cup is again around the corner. There's lots of things worrying me about going into this World Cup. A lot of things. So that's a concern for me. Is going to this World Cup. There's a lot of issues, and Michel Platini is not helping either. The football crowd disturbances at games is embarrassing, especially because they're high-profile games, like playoff games. Whilst many people outside of this country may not be watching them as much, football fans in this country and the media are going through them like a fine-tooth comb, because the playoff games end up at Wembley, and that is the biggest stadium in the country. It's the national stage. They get televised. Some of these clubs don't get on TV much in the lower leagues. They get televised. They get a lot of exposure. There's a lot of prize money involved. Fans are misbehaving. They even misbehaved. There was a couple of fans at the National League playoff final, which is the non-league, the old conference. A few fans misbehaved there. There's been playoff fan disturbances at the League 2, League 1 and Championship playoffs. Fans have not been behaving. I'm not even sure the Championship playoffs have started. No, the Championship playoffs have started. All the playoffs, from the Championship to League 2, there's also been a lot of crowd disturbances at games. And it's something that worries me going into the World Cup, considering that, the threat of violence at the World Cup between rival factions of so-called fans, hooligans, let's be honest, is concerning. The Foreign Office travel advice is pretty basically saying don't go, basically. If you're gay of an ethnic minority, don't go, pretty much, because you'll live longer. And they're saying you've got to stick to certain areas, take the public transit to and from the games that's put on, stay at your hotel, don't leave your fan zone. They're basically saying, look, it's going to be a Stasi type system out there. If you stray even 5 foot away from that fan zone, you're in the Wild West, and the police may not protect you. They're more likely to be just as corrupt and violent as the media portrays them. The Foreign Office advice for the World Cup is not great. And there's people asking me and some other subscribers, are you going to the World Cup? And I'm saying no. A lot of my subscribers aren't going. So that's going to be interesting. That's a worry, though, with fans misbehaving here and over in the continent of Europe. A lot of fans have been misbehaving this season and last season. It seems to be a rise in football disorder, which is embarrassing, if I'm brutally honest. It's really embarrassing watching middle-aged men try and fight. It's really funny and really embarrassing at the same time, because it's just sad. It really is. It wouldn't surprise me if, in a perfect world, they bring in alcohol bans at stadiums. They won't do it, though, because the concession stands make a lot of money out of it, but it's something that could be considered as alcohol bans. But the FA is a toothless organisation, and it's the same with UEFA and all the other federations. Alcohol bans at stadiums have to be an option because fans just cannot behave. They just prove incapable of behaving. And of course, what's that in Russia? There's lots of alcohol. yeah, fans proved 2 years ago in France they couldn't behave. Both English fans and other nationalities proved they couldn't behave. The Germans and the Poles in 2006 in the World Cup proved they couldn't behave. Again, alcohol was a part of it, and there was also organised violence. Poland and Ukraine 2012, again, proved they couldn't behave. It's not just an English issue. There's multiple nationalities that have an issue behaving abroad, and it's really just embarrassing. Really is absolutely embarrassing. So that's something we have to look forward to. Is a football riot. It will make the World Cup seem a mockery if it happens, and it will. Obviously, that is a concern, but the Confederations Cup went off quite well, no real issues. So hopefully, with the security in place, it doesn't happen. Doesn't mean they won't try it, or it may happen, but we shall see. Also, there's a lot of political stuff going on as well, and I try and keep politics off the channel, but a lot of political stuff is going on between Russia and the rest of Europe and the rest of the world at the moment. So that has a backdrop to it, which can lead to further nastiness. But yeah, Champions League finals coming up as well. I'll be doing a couple of videos on that. I think Liverpool have a very, very good chance. Zidane's saying Ronaldo's 120% fit, which basically means he's not fully fit. Let's be honest. Ronaldo has been battling injury for a while. He's not been at his best this season. Real Madrid haven't been at their best this season, yet they still managed to get to a Champions League final for the third year in a row. We have to see what happens. I think Liverpool have the best chance they ever have had in recent years at winning a piece of silver. I think the way Liverpool attack, they have a very, very good chance. And they're very confident in attack. Defensively, both sides, I'm not sold on. But in attack, Liverpool, I think, look better, personally. They play with more pace that I don't think the Real Madrid team could possibly live with. But that's the style of football that is played. But yeah, I think another video I'm going to do is how many Americans are going to watch the World Cup, considering their nation isn't going. Are they going to watch the World Cup in Russia? That's a video I might do later today. But for now, thank you very much for watching. It's just been me having a little thought process on what's currently going on in football. And before I go, the Tranmere Rovers promotion video that I did has actually proved to be a very, very popular video, and I'm really glad that Tranmere are back in the Football League. I'm quite glad that it's got the attention it deserves. I think some clubs and some leagues in this country and in Europe are underrepresented in the media. I think they're too top heavy for the big clubs and the grassroots clubs and the smaller clubs that actually are the foundations of the game are being overlooked and ignored, and that's wrong. And I think with what Tranmere have done to get back into the Football League is great. And I'm hoping they have a very good first season back in the Football League. And I'm hoping to see them slowly climb the league structure season on season. And I hope to see them back at high levels of football sooner rather than later. But I'm going to leave that there, so thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.